Yeah, Superman can see him.
Yeah, it's a stretch for Superman. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, he's so powerful.
But Batman,
He's
the dude's just rich and can do martial arts. Like that's it. That's his superpower is money.
Okay.
Like
Hey guys, welcome back to Gamified Podcast. I'm Harley,
I'm Zuff.
and we've got our special guest back because we loved her so much. Welcome back, Stitch.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
If you guys don't know, Stitch is Zuff's other half. Today we're talking about Marvel vs. DC.
Yes, this is gonna be interesting because you're very much a DC fangirl.
I am the number one fangirl for DC.
Yeah, and I'm very much a Marvel fanboy.
So Stitch, what are you?
I-
Okay, moving on.
Neutral chaos, I think.
As long as someone gets hurt, I think she's fine.
As long as someone gets hurt. Huh?
Yeah.
Hurt. What? Hurt.
Yeah. Someone gets hurt.
Some-
Yeah.
Someone's gonna get hurt this episode.
That's
Yeah.
all I want. I also
I'm-
want this mic to stay.
Yeah. Let's just have a
You've
moment
been
of
having
silence.
a moment with that mic
Yeah,
all before this podcast started.
it's fine. It's fine where it is. It's fine.
I like it.
All right. So. All right. Anyways, let's get the gaming side down because it's a smaller section to talk about.
Yes,
All right.
but I have a question for you. Have you seen the new gameplay for the new Marvel story?
No, there's a new game.
There's a new game.
Oh, does it look good?
Mm.
All right, you have to be impartial in the fact that does it look good or not.
For the first look, meh.
Meh?
Mm.
Actually meh? Or you being like,
No. I'm actually being serious. It looks meh.
Okay, I will say this though, like the DC games that I played and so, the DC games tend to be a bit better in terms of like.
Yeah, I think the reason why is because Warner Brothers for gaming, they have like, they're all DC fans.
Yeah.
They're all number one fans. They're kind of like for gaming for DC is like they've got to
They
is
put
it
more effort
Sefton?
into
I
it.
think it was Sefton Hill who did the Batman games.
Yeah.
He is like a Kevin Feige for DC gaming.
Those games were phenomenal. I never got to play any of them, but they were phenomenal. Like,
Yeah. So
I remember
I
watching gameplay.
So I think that's why Batman did so well as a game because they had a team behind it that was very much.
What's your favorite
about-
DC game?
It's the Batman series for sure. Taking out Batman Origins because that was just a load of poop. But having said that, though, the voice actors on that game were exceptional.
Is it a Injustice that's like a Street Fighter type of game?
Yeah, it's like Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
but with
I want to give that one a go.
DC characters.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play that one.
I have it on PlayStation.
Well, I'm gonna play it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'll bring the PlayStation over next time.
You want to stop playing with your mic there?
Look, okay? It just is hanging too low.
It's fine. It sounds fine.
In my old age, my microphone's saggy.
Oh no.
Yeah,
All right.
you need
I'll give
cosmetic surgery for that.
I'll
I
give
gotta
you that
tweak
much in
it.
terms of like DC does better games, but they do dog shit movies
No, not dog shit. Just
mostly.
Okay, you can't compare a game to a movie, number one.
Okay, I'm just saying.
So before
DC
we
versus
even
Marvel.
friggin' start,
DC
mate.
versus Marvel. DC wins in games, but DC versus Marvel.
Okay.
Marvel wins in movies.
Okay, how about DC versus Marvel? DC wins at fucking TV shows.
TV shows. Let me think.
I heard
Let me drop
Shield
that
was-
mic. Let me drop that mic.
Let me think. No. I'm trying to. I'm gonna. Can you not punch the microphone, please.
I was dropping my mic,
dropped the
bitch.
mic.
Oh, fine.
Get with it.
Luke Cage is pretty good.
Luke Cage, no.
Yes,
Jessica Jones season 1 was great.
that was good.
None of the other Marvel TV shows. DC for the win. So I agree with you. DC in terms of movies, not great.
Oh, yeah, that's an
Execution
understatement.
wise, not great. The idea
Not
is
great.
there.
Justice
Not
League.
great.
Yeah. Justice League was so bad.
Very, very bad.
Yeah, it was.
That's cool, Barry Kripke.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like, okay, there's a few things about Justice League that annoyed me. Like, they
Go on,
introduced-
Henry Cavill's chin and his mustache. Let's go.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
one of
Whatever.
them. But-
Are you consoling me because I know that Zuff's about to have a go at
Roast.
my
no, okay.
I
The
just
love
wanna,
of
I
my
just wanna
life?
preface this with
Not really.
like Jason Momoa just shaking his hair
Okay.
in a beautiful suit
He
with his shirt off sometimes too. Okay, now let's just use that redeeming feature and take his criticism with a little skepticism now because it
All
just that was beautiful.
Here's the thing. Jason Momoa was a good touch, but they introduced all of the main characters way too quickly.
Okay, I have a disagreement with the characters they introduced
What do you mean? How?
because Zatanna was not in that and she is part of the Justice League. Zack Snyder. Also, if you're going to cast Zatanna, let me know. I'm free to play that role.
All right. Also, there's a if there's a
But yeah.
spoilers alert if you haven't watched it somehow already.
Stop
But-
watching this
too.
podcast.
Can you?
They just
All right.
you
I'm
want
gonna
them?
give you guys a moment to get your shit together.
Well, my microphone is falling off where it's
All right,
mounted.
let's
Give me
gonna
a second.
Quick pause.
in the fight against the machine.
Okay,
They're losing.
I'm back.
All
It's just because where our mics are mounted, they're like half mounted on a little piece of pine, and
And you keep on fucking around and shit. All right. And
I
we're
don't.
back. All right. So, here's my other thing. If you haven't watched, Justice League yet, this is a spoiler, so maybe go watch it and come back to the podcast.
Right now.
There's this particular scene where it's like the whole Justice League is fighting the other side, and Flash is running around like this silo
oh my
bit,
god,
right? And
You were so hung up on this bit.
and he
So
trips,
true.
and Batman sees him trip at running at fucking light speed or what close to, and predicts where his foot's gonna be, catches it with the grappling hook, and acts all like, "Yeah, man, I can see things." Like,
Okay.
Superman can see him,
Yeah, it's a stretch for Superman. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
Yeah.
he's so powerful.
but Batman,
He's
the dude's just rich and can do martial arts. Like, that's it. That's his. That's his superpower. His money.
Okay,
Like,
I'm gonna stop you there.
what?
I'm gonna give you a moment to take your headphones off and get the fuck out of this podcast
Why?
because Batman is everything.
But you have to agree that that's a bit of a stretch.
But having said that, though, explain the scene where he knows of Barry's power. He's been studying Barry. That's why they're getting the team together.
You can know about
There is
the
also
speed
a
of
bit
light.
where he's throwing a fucking star and he knows that Barry's going to catch it.
Yeah.
He can.
Okay.
I reckon.
There's a
I
difference.
reckon.
Okay, no.
I reckon
Those are two
Batman
completely different-
preempted.
Yeah.
Batman's preempted. He's a preemptive person.
No
he
one
thinks ahead.
No one.
They're
okay,
different
they're, Yeah,
things,
they
right?
are. So throwing a star.
And expecting someone who's running at like half the speed of light to catch it is like not much of a stretch.
yeah, it's they're doing the work.
But if
It's
you're
not
running
you.
at half the speed of light and then someone can predict where you are when they're just human, no, fuck off. No, I don't think so.
But it's Batman.
No, I don't care about Batman. Like you can't stretch it that far.
Yeah, that's too much.
He's meant to be a mortal man at the heart of it, who's rich, has abilities, and can engineer shit. Like he's smart and rich and fights.
and he fights with gods.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we just take the premise of friggin' Avengers for a second?
Okay. What about it?
None of Endgame would actually be a solid way of saving the world.
Why?
And you're complaining about someone grabbing
Why
a
is
fucking
this-
ankle.
Actually, I had never considered this.
What do you mean? Why isn't?
I fell off the bandwagon after X-Men.
Oh, X-Men
Not
went to
even the
total
most-
shite.
Yeah.
Not
I
even the
agree with that.
most recent. I'm talking X-Men 3. I fell off the superhero
Oh my
bandwagon.
god.
And I've just been like,
Floating about.
floating around, looking at everyone else with their hype about it and just being like,
Some of
only
some of the
exception-
Marvel movies are quite great, and I do
Thor Ragnarok has to be
I
one
do
of my favorite.
appreciate what Kevin Feige has done in terms of the planning. That is, I think that's what DC needs. They need to
More
sit
planning.
down, plan, and get a good
And
team behind
Don't
them.
rush it. Here's the thing, like Marvel spent like 10 years building the MCU.
But they also spent 10 years before that planning everything.
Yeah.
The
And
first
DC's
movie
like,
didn't come out
hey,
until...
You know what DC did? DC did what like Fortnite did and was like, hey, Apex is doing something. Let's do it too.
Yeah.
You know.
But having said that, though, you're in a competing commercial environment. You kind of have to expect that.
yeah, but
It's like when
put planning
two
and time
different
into-
movies come out, but they're the same movie. Like Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached.
oh yeah, they're exactly the same movie. Yeah.
And they
Wait.
come out the exact same time in the cinema. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I've always been so confused. I never knew there were two different movies.
they're two different movies, and they came out the exact same time. They have two lots of different actors, same premise.
Yeah.
Isn't one of them dying from something though?
No. It's
What the
both
hell am
just
I
like
thinking?
It's literally
Yeah.
two movies about people who are friends with benefits.
yeah. And then they
And one
fall
of
in
the
love.
movies is called Friends with Benefits.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Moving
though.
back on to
Yeah,
Marvel
DC
versus
versus
DC.
Marvel. Look, yeah, Marvel spent a lot more time building and thinking and like actually tracking out what they wanted to do, and then DC just rushed it because they're trying to compete, and that's the main problem. Like,
But
the-
I also think I love Zack Snyder. I do.
yeah,
But I love him so much. I'm so sorry, Zach. I just think he had too much ideas too quickly. I think what needed to happen was he needed someone like a Kevin Feige to kind of
reel it in.
not reel it in, let him have his creative flow, but also explain to him that
It needs to work.
less is more,
Yeah,
and more can be done over a few movies.
yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Like all he needed to introduce was he introduced Wonder Woman,
yeah,
and I think
then it
he
was
needed
Justice
to
League.
just introduce one more character in another movie, whether it was a Superman movie or another like a standalone Batman movie, and just introduce a character through those avenues,
like shared introduction,
much
yeah,
like Marvel.
and Spider-Man.
But don't give
Yeah.
us 5 new characters to go, what the fuck?
Yeah, like Suicide.
Well, that's it. And
Suicide
then-
Squad.
Suicide Squad as well.
It
Yeah.
could have been amazing,
Could
and
have been
it like
so
I
And
good.
it was
I-
so hyped to be amazing. And you had amazing actors like Margot Robbie. I mean, perfect Harley Quinn. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Every time I read a comic book with Harley Quinn in it,
picture her.
that is, but I don't picture, like I picture her now, but how I pictured what Harley should be on screen was how she played it. So
What about
there's-
Joker?
No.
It was a little forced. Hey, it was a little obnoxious.
I think there was a lot of hype to Joker and a lot of
Here's
already
something
going to be pitted against.
What do you think
late
about something
Heath Ledger.
heavy here, like the abusive relationship between Joker and Harley, especially in that?
Okay, everyone's gonna probably hate me for this. I think it's warranted.
What do you mean warranted?
I think it displays a real like powerful truth that there are some relationships that are out there like that,
Oh yeah,
and not
That's-
everyone is susceptible to the happy ever after.
but what I think is interesting is you have a manipulator being manipulated by a manipulator, because Harley manipulates all the people she's around to get her.
But if you actually read the comics, she's not being manipulated by Joker. She chooses.
him.
No, she doesn't choose him. She chooses to look past that side of him.
Ah.
And if you think about it, she actually is bisexual,
Oh yeah.
and she gets into a relationship, I think it's Poison Ivy,
All right.
and
yeah.
they become a thing.
Ah.
So Joker is not actually.
like a
be
be-all,
If
Well,
anything, if you read the comics,
yeah.
Harley ends up playing Joker, not the other way around.
Oh really?
Mm.
Here's okay.
That's why Harley is such a
Here's
powerful
theory thing that
and
I,
very
underrated.
appreciated,
Yeah.
but not only not everyone understands her.
I have a thing in a moment. Give me one sec.
I think there's
breaking the fourth wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Deadpool,
Yep.
he breaks the fourth wall quite well in comics and both in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Joker, I've heard this theory about Joker, especially the one from like the Dark Knight style Joker, was one of those people who understood he was in a comic book or like in a comic kind of thing, and that is why he knew he could get away with all the things that he did, because he knew there
Where
was
did you get that from?
I remember like reading it on online somewhere.
Okay, well,
Yeah. No? You don't think so?
no.
What about the one where Robin becomes the Joker?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
Because-
Flashpoint. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that's in Flashpoint. So in Flashpoint, interesting thing. I'm pretty sure it's Flashpoint. Bruce,
creates the Joker effectively.
no. Fuck. Bruce Wayne dies. The original Bruce Wayne dies because there's alternative universes, right? I'm getting so nerdy. Alternative universes, right? So Superman dies.
Yeah. Fine.
Superman.
The original Superman dies, and Lois dies, which is why Superman. Actually, what happens is Lois dies. Superman goes crazy and blows up the universe.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And then in the alternative universe, Superman dies and his son becomes Superman. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I may be wrong. If I am wrong, please comment
Correct
below.
her, please. I would like to see that.
And there is a flashpoint where Dick Grayson becomes Batman, and there's an alternative universe where Bruce Wayne actually gets killed and his mother gets killed and his father
Becomes Batman.
becomes Batman.
Oh, that's interesting.
But his father is a Batman that kills everybody.
That's one of the issues I have with
And then I think
Batman.
Tom Wayne ends up in a situation and Dick Grayson is trying to save him and
He gets captured.
Tom Wayne dies somehow, but the power transfers over to Dick Grayson. Like a power shift. The thing with Flashpoint is you have to have read the comics before to get the comics after.
Yeah.
So I might be like thinking of different. I'm on the same sort of wavelength, but there's different sort of
Like
things.
tangents.
There is YouTube videos that explains the Flashpoint comics and what happens with Superman and everything. You should go and check it out because it's insane. But Flashpoint is probably one of the best new reimagining of the DC comics in a while.
I'll tell you one thing that I don't like about Marvel is the amount of times I have to watch a new Spider-Man come out. So frustrating. And now...
can Sony and Disney figure that shit out, please?
Well, now they can't because now they're like, okay, we're not going to go together on the whole Spider-Man thing. But at least we're keeping Tom Holland.
Tom Holland apparently unfollowed Sony, and now Sony is in contact with DC again to figure it out. But whether or not they figure it out is a whole new thing.
That's
what I saw on friggin' Facebook and everyone. Yeah, and a lot of the other actors that are in a Marvel film had either retweeted the screenshot someone took of the
Tom
unfollowing,
Holland,
or they were on Tom Holland's side. So I think Sony got a little bit scared.
I think Sony's getting greedy in the fact that, okay, actually,
You can't put stuff together to make something happen and then pull out.
yeah, yeah, the pull-out game is weak.
There needs to be a bun in the oven.
Yeah.
You know,
But the problem with Sony is they either have to forfeit the right and let Marvel take over, which means they don't make a Superman film for the next 6 years or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or they have to keep making a Spider-Man film within a certain amount of time so that the copyright
every 2
stuff for Spider-Man doesn't revert back to Marvel. That was the original agreement.
That's why it's like that. And that's why we get a new Spider-Man every 4 or something or whatever it is. And it's so frustrating.
Which is why we've had 2 new ones in a matter of like 2 years or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man universe.
But Spider-Man is not going to be a part of the
Spider-Man
Avengers universe.
Into the
as well,
Spider-Verse,
Yeah,
in
that
terms
thing.
of like a previous episode, in terms of like animated stuff,
Mhm.
that was such a good movie.
Mhm.
it was
so
it
good.
was a mind.
Blow.
Yeah,
A mind.
gonna
Yeah,
swear,
see,
but-
that had
but
the
I'm
same sort of
allergic.
concept, I guess, as what Flashpoint had.
where you have an
Alternate sort of
What do you
universe
think
is
about
happening.
the Flash series?
I'm not a Flash person.
Really?
No, I'm strictly Batman. Only because, and people go, Batman, he doesn't do anything. He's a fucking millionaire and he just has money and you know. Yeah, I get that. I also... DC is very good at darkness
Yeah.
Yes.
and
They
the
do that very well.
grittiness,
yes.
which is
Like The
also
Dark
what
Knight has
is
to be one of the
really
best.
bad for them too, because they can never capture that properly. The only person who's been able to capture that is Christopher Nolan's Batman series
The Dark Knight.
and the
Yeah.
Dark Knight specifically.
Yeah. That was just perfect.
Yeah.
Everything came
Yeah,
together.
like I was saying
Mm.
before, my main issue kind of with Batman, most Batmans at least, is he doesn't kill anyone. Like
That's a
most of-
killing
moral,
people.
but that's a moral
He's
thing.
killing
But here's the thing, it's like
people.
you're causing more death by not killing the source of the death. Like Joker kills a bunch of people. If you kill
Again,
Joker and you
You
kind
have to read the comics as to why Bruce Wayne and Batman are the way they are.
love
Also, they're not the same person.
with Bruce Wayne and Batman.
No.
What do you
Bruce
mean?
Wayne is completely different. Okay, so people have this idea that, Bruce Wayne, the millionaire, and he's Batman at night. No.
Okay, elaborate.
Bruce Wayne is his... Batman is the actual character, and Bruce Wayne is his alter ego. Bruce Wayne,
So the
is,
mask is
Bruce Wayne is his mask, and Batman is who he truly is. So if
I
you
agree.
watch movies and
Do
things
you-
like that now with that understanding, you'll understand why Batman's such
But
a
Bruce
heavy character.
Batman came
And an
about
awesome
after
character.
Bruce though.
Yeah, but
Yes, but
but-
it
Oh,
doesn't
did
mean
Did that
But he
event bring
found
out
himself.
his true like
Yeah.
identity? Okay.
that it'd be like, you know, when you're young and you have no idea what you want to be when you're older,
and then,
and then all of a sudden you go at 30 or whatever, and you're like, fuck, I know exactly where I want to be, who I want to be.
I want to be
everything.
a billionaire with all of the toys.
Just because you're a person doesn't mean that is who you actually are.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that much. Yeah.
And also I'll bring it for you to read. But I have like it's called the Batman Files,
Yeah.
and it literally
Original name.
has No, it's literally like all of the Batman stuff.
I know, but
That
they
this
could have come
author's
up with a more creative name than the Batman Files.
It's literally all the files about the comics though. I mean,
good enough.
what other name can you give it? But like, yeah, it's got all of that information and how he came to be and what his parents were really like.
Okay.
All of that, how their death actually changed him. Because it's not like...
Who's your favorite Batman actor?
That's really hard.
That's interesting. So let's compare Christian Bale and
Me-
not Matt Damon, the other, his best friend.
No, Matt Damon.
I cannot
Ben
remember-
Affleck.
I
Ben
can't
Affleck,
say
yeah.
his name and not go Matt Damon.
I know. As soon as you said Matt Damon, I was like, oh my God, Team America, no.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck and Christian Bale. What do you think?
Well, there's no comparison. Sorry, Ben Affleck.
I
But
think that-
Christian Bale and Ben Affleck are two separate people. You can't. This is the thing. I hate really comparing actors because they bring something to a
Different,
role
yeah.
that's different.
And it's specific to that exact movie that's being made.
Yeah.
Like, he
So
was
Ben
older, he was
Affleck,
beaten, like-
Ben Affleck's version of Batman is actually based off. I think it's Batman. Dark Knight Rise. One of the comics, basically, he's a brawler and he's like in his 40s or whatever.
and he's like
okay.
messed up. And
Yeah, and he's like
I felt that.
Yeah.
fairly
I
broken.
did like him as Batman, to be honest.
Yeah, I
liked
think they
Batman
were
better.
going with the older Batman.
It felt more,
Because if you actually look at, if you watch Batman vs Superman, and it's only for a second and you have to really read the comics to understand, but there is a Flashpoint reference in that movie.
which is the point?
Which is when, that you know that bit where he like is in the Batcave and then all of a sudden that bright light comes through and the flash comes through to give him a message.
Yeah.
That's a Flashpoint reference.
Ah.
So if you don't understand that, and a lot of people didn't understand what that was,
yeah, I think I understood that.
you're not gonna know. And you know the bit with the guards and Batman's tied up and Superman comes in? That's another Flashpoint reference.
Oh my God.
Remember how I told you about Superman going crazy and blowing up the world?
Yeah.
Flashpoint reference.
Ah.
Anyway, you can read all about that. I'm going to shut up soon.
No.
What is okay? How about this? Being a DC fan, what
Mhm.
is your favorite Marvel movie? Yeah, Ragnarok. It's gotta be one of mine.
I am going to... I liked Ragnarok and I didn't like Ragnarok.
What did you not like about
Was it
Ragnarok?
too comedic?
Too lighthearted?
Wasn't lighthearted.
The characters were a little different.
Yeah, they were very
There was
different.
nothing wrong with the movie. I just didn't like... It just wasn't for me.
What about Guardians of the
Probably
Galaxy?
my favorite
Oh, Guardians. God, yeah, I forgot about Guardians.
Marvel movie. Hang on.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I actually quite liked... trying to think of... I think it's a tie between Winter Soldier,
Oh, the Captain America series? Okay.
Captain America, Winter Soldier, and the Civil War movie. Sorry.
Civil War. I thought it said Civil
I
War.
couldn't. Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel?
That was pretty
hated
good.
that movie.
I
was
like
a bit
the green dude.
Excuse my French.
yeah.
I
he's
like
cool,
the
but
green dude. He he made it for me.
I think Ragnarok has to be my favorite. It just did everything so right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then after that, I would say Guardians of the Galaxy. And then I have to say Iron Man 1. It's where it's
Back
like
to basics. I like that.
where
it
I like that a lot.
started.
Yeah.
like the end scene when he goes and he's talking like the
And he goes, I am
Yeah.
Iron Man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I actually started back from like
I was
Hulk.
about to say I am Batman, realizing we're not talking about
with,
that.
I think it was with Hulk with Edward Norton is where it started, where there's the first like end scene, and he's saying
He wasn't a great.
He was
Hulk.
not.
no, he's not. I much like Mark Ruffalo. As
He's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah,
He's
he's perfect.
like the sweetest human
in
being
Endgame,
in all
he's
his spoiling
hilarious.
glory.
Oh, he's drops his most spoilers out of any celebrity
he
working
cast like
So I
half the
have-
movie, didn't he?
in. Yeah,
He like
He's-
Facebook live streamed.
Yeah.
So
By
by
accident.
accident.
Yeah.
He's so.
I
And-
feel his pain though.
and he
I
was like,
mean, him and Tom
spoiler
Holland
alert.
spoiling everything
Spoiler alert,
together.
everyone dies, and it's just like, oh wait, not
Oh,
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, not that.
damn.
Wait, dude.
Oh yeah, can we take that? Is this live? Can we take that back? And it's like, oh my gosh, and then Tom Holland is just like,
Just ruining it
Yeah.
every 5 minutes.
He's
Yeah.
like a Labrador.
I have a
Sweet
question
and lovable,
though.
but like
Okay.
What
yeah.
is your take on Superman
I've
as a
never liked
character? And
I think he's overrated.
I have a fundamental issue with someone who wears the underpants on the outside.
okay,
of the
taking away
pants.
from the fact that the latest series with Henry Cavill does not have the underpants
Yeah.
outside. What do
Uh,
you still think?
I
of the
think he's
character?
overrated as a character. He's got speed. He can go look through walls. He has laser eyes. He's got like super hearing. He's like he's got
He
all
is a
these,
bit unlikable
yeah,
in that way.
and it's just like he's got all these things, and it's just I think it's too much in
he's
one.
flawless.
He's not.
And because he's
he can
flawless,
get killed
he's
by
very
an old man
flawed.
with like kryptonite gloves, but like
Yeah.
he
Like Batman is not flawless, and therefore he's
I
kind
think
of
that's
flawless.
yeah.
yeah. I think that's the thing. I like characters have
He's so
that have
flawed
faults.
that he's not flawed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's like
Like even Iron Man. Iron Man is flawed, right? Because he's like a bit
Oh,
too much
utterly
into-
flawed.
drinks too much.
Yeah. But then he
He's
goes
too
to like a character
cocky.
transformation, which is good.
Yeah.
Even like Thor, flawed, too much into himself, character transformation, better, then goes to
Yeah,
another
but
character.
isn't that the stock standard recipe for all superhero movies?
Yeah, but then you got,
Flawed,
like,
change your
Superman.
fucking
Except
thing.
if they're women.
Yeah.
If they're women,
They're
they
perfect
cannot
from
be.
the get-go.
They're perfect from the get go, and they just prove to all the men that they're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But like silently just waiting for the men to realize how big idiots they are. And I don't like that. That's what a lot of female
Though
leads
Captain
are.
Marvel didn't do that. Captain Marvel was
Captain
very
Marvel did that.
No.
She silently waited for the idiot males to like, I don't know. There's an undertone in most things nowadays that I seem to be able to see or imagine that other people don't really see and imagine. It's like Wonder Woman. Like hysterical attack. Ah!
Hysteria attack.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god.
The power of hysteria. Come
Oh my god.
And like the men, they're all idiots, and
Or
the woman
evil.
who is perfect and who was flawless and timeless can see and think ahead of the men and their hot blood.
Okay.
Just got.
I haven't spoken
Deep.
this whole time, and
No,
I
that's
did that.
fine. That's fine. I actually
Do you agree?
agree with you
Mm,
in a
fine.
way.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah. Look, I understand the need for women representation in films right now.
yes.
It is so overdue, but
Now it's overdone.
Or maybe it's just not done in the right
it's not
way.
done in the right way.
I think you can still do more.
Wonder Woman.
You can have a kick-ass superhero
Mm.
that, like you said, is not conceited. I didn't like Captain Marvel because
I feel like she was paid emotionless.
she was the hero from the get-go. You knew she was going to be the hero. That was the whole
Yeah.
problem with that. But in the
But,
comics, she goes through a very, very big
No, but like
character
you
transformation.
go into that movie knowing who the hero is going to be. It's like you go into any Batman movie
but
knowing
if
Batman's
you
gonna be a hero.
actually read the comics, she goes through a huge character transformation. A
Yeah.
huge character
You
transformation.
reckon it's huge?
Huge character.
Oh my god! Sorry for anyone's ears. Oh my god! Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, we just saw the sound wave on the
yeah.
on the recording.
It looks like a photon blast from a gun.
Yeah, well,
Phew.
basically
Actually, it
someone's ears
does.
are gonna die anyways from that.
So,
So let's bring it back to topic.
but yeah, I don't know. I do agree in the sense that DC really just needs to stop, figure out their shit,
And then reevaluate.
and
Yeah.
reevaluate, or they need to understand.
Double down. Put 7 characters in every
No.
movie. Everyone in the DC universe
Oh
gets
my
shown off, and that's it.
I would like to see a Marvel verse DC. That
I-
would be pretty epic.
I think it'd
But
be
having said that,
too
I
difficult
think
to do.
I think DC really needs to like reevaluate whether movies is their niche or keep going with their
the
TV
games.
shows.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
TV
they'll
shows
keep
and
going
games.
with movies.
I don't
Oh,
think
they
it's,
will.
It's nowhere near.
They
as
will, but they
profitable,
need to really understand what
though. It
they're
takes to
putting
make a
out
profit.
and like what they're going to plan for. Because if they're going to keep doing what they're doing with movies, they should just stick to TV shows because they put way more planning
they
in their
should
TV
just,
shows.
like cut their losses and then.
If they got George R.R. Martin to write,
Bro, he hasn't even finished his books. He's not gonna finish. it.
Dude,
they
I
would be
mean,
set because
they
the
had so mu-
tone of their movies that they like, the way they make them is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything that goes
That's
into
what I say. I love
aesthetic.
Colour
Zack
and the
Snyder.
sound
and
I
all,
love
yeah.
Zack Snyder because he's such a visionary in what he wants.
But the
But there's not
storylines-
enough time in a movie to put all of that,
Or
plus
detail.
the words and everything. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, the storyline is always lacking, and it's lacking in sophistication. Like
Just
And I
don't get
feel
the
like that's
directors.
why-
too much smashed in,
Just
and
don't
that's
get the
not
directors from
intelligent.
the last series of Game of Thrones.
But I feel like it's the same
Exactly.
directors as the whole
I know.
entire
No, I know,
series.
but they didn't have George R.R. Martin's writing.
But having said that,
to
they did
direct
a
the
lot.
flow.
They did quite well considering.
They did terribly.
They were terribly.
Okay.
I hated that
They
ending.
literally made
I haven't
choices.
watched it, so
Yeah, you can't comment. You don't even know what happens.
They literally made choices to go against what fan theories had
yeah,
come up.
just because the
They
fan
were
theories
like,
are correct.
Oh, we can't have Jon Snow be the guy because that's what they
Everyone.
literally said that as well. They were like, oh, we can't have it be the thing that everyone thinks it is. It's got to subvert. So they unpicked all of the tapestry that was all the previous like seasons.
Can't spoil it for her. Be careful.
And you're like, I'm very confused.
Yeah.
So are you saying Jon Snow doesn't make it to the throne?
I don't know.
Wait, are you saying Ned Stark doesn't make it to the throne?
Yeah, man. No, he makes it. Yeah, he definitely makes it.
Isn't there
But yeah, I hate that when that happens too.
when they've carefully woven a tapestry of storylines.
I felt a bit like that. A totally different subject. Do you remember a TV show, Veronica Mars?
Yes.
No.
They did that with this new season.
I watched.
They got rid
bits
of a
it.
key character. I'm not going to spoil it, but they got rid of a key character, and they kind of alluded to a fact of us setting up another story for another season, but it just didn't feel right.
I think
felt
sometimes
like-
you got to
it
kill
felt
stuff
like-
before it fails. Like Malcolm in the Middle, you got to kill it before it fails.
I
It's
get-
so good, and then it was so bad.
But I get where they were going with the story, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel like they unpicked everything they worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could go on about this all the time, but
Okay. So you've talked about your favorite
Favorite-
Marvel,
okay.
favorite DC.
favorite DC
And then-
character,
Favorite DC character.
and then favorite Marvel character, and we'll go around the oval.
Are we going off just like cartoons and movies and all that kind of
All
stuff? or
DC characters.
characters. All DC characters. From the Teen Titans cartoon
If you have a
series,
female
Beast
and a
Boy.
male, you can do that too.
Beast Boy.
Beast Boy
Yeah.
for DC.
Yeah.
And I already know your Marvel, which is Deadpool.
Yes. 100%. Yeah.
All right. What about you?
But he's also kind of tied from like the Thor from Ragnarok. But
yeah. What about you, Stench?
I loved Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad
Mm-hmm.
for DC.
Yeah.
And my favorite for male is Heath Ledger. Like you just
As
Oh,
Joker.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's
the
just
best depiction.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
far.
amazing. Because you're like, I get him. No, I don't.
Yeah.
And then for Marvel, I love Thor too much. Chris Hemsworth just too lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just buy into anything he tells you.
Yeah.
I'll
So
buy that
I
$400
also
watch.
like Iron Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean Chris Hemsworth. We're
Yeah,
Aussies.
he's the
you gotta
he's the
you gotta
top,
share
yeah.
the love with
You
the
gotta
Byron
share
Bay
the love.
boys.
I would have to say, well, everyone knows, like I'm a huge Batman fan, but I'm going to take Batman out of the equation. So my favorite female, so I've got a villain and a hero, Zatanna for the hero,
I thought it would be Harley Quinn.
and the villain is Harley Quinn.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then
For male.
for male, Batman.
No.
I was gonna try and take him out, but I can't. I
Yeah.
just can't. He's my
He's
thing.
your
boy.
true love.
He's
He's
Yeah.
my
You want
boy.
love?
Yeah.
And I think for the look, I like the Joker.
Just
Yeah,
go
right.
with it. If he's
Yeah,
your
no.
if he's
He's
your
the
gonna be
he's a
Joker.
boy.
Yeah.
But
What about
even
Marvel,
written in
male
the
and female?
comic, written in the comics, like Batman is such an underrated comic. It's full of so much darkness and like
It's because they
story.
make shit movies.
And all the things connected to Batman, like
Yeah.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of the other characters within the Batman. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then Marvel,
Male and female.
female would be
Mystique. Wait, is Mystique Marvel? No.
yes, she
Yeah,
is.
she's
Yeah.
X-Men. Yeah.
Actually, I'd have to go Rogue.
Rogue?
Rogue.
Interesting character, yeah.
Again, they did her
They
her
did.
dirty in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they let Ellen Page like cuck that bitch.
Also, in the comics, Rogue is a fucking badass.
Yeah. I touch you and you die.
Yeah, she's just like, and she's like super awesome. And male. Oh, this is gonna be really hard.
That's what she said. I need to put like
I'm
the
an-
sound of like a smoking brain over there.
Wolverine.
I think it's. Is it? No, I can't think of the name. I'm just gonna go with someone that we know. Probably. I really hate Marvel. Sorry.
Oh my god, you can't hate it that much. You don't.
What
have
about the
it.
Rock guy from Thor Ragnarok or Loki?
Oh,
Loki.
Loki. That's who I was
Loki.
thinking of. That was actually who I was thinking of.
Loki is amazing.
Thank you so much.
That was
Anyway.
Alright.
How did we grip each other like
know.
that? It was like
All right.
So yeah,
Let's-
Loki, definitely Loki.
All right.
low key. It's low key.
Yeah. Low-key,
Yeah.
it's low-key. All right, I get you. Alrighty. Well, that was an interesting episode, I think.
Yeah.
A lot got discussed there.
I think that's pretty much all I had to say.
Yeah.
I pretty much took over that
Why are you
episode.
giving me big eyes? You want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Well,
I'm
that
high
was
so
our,
funny.
that was our DC versus Marvel episode. If you disagree with anything we say, put it in the comments, and I'm sure you will.
Tell us who your favorite anti-heroes or superheroes from
Yes.
either
Faction, yeah.
faction, Marvel,
Who did we
DC.
miss?
Who
Yeah.
did we miss?
Obviously not low key.
Is there an underrated character that you want to be on top? Let us know.
Did we get anything wrong? Please let us know, especially if it's her.
Mystique
Um,
is
Shut
one.
up.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, hit the like button. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the notification bell. You can also find us on Spotify and iTunes. Our socials are linked in the description below. Hit us up in the comments to tell us what you'd like to hear about. I'm Zuff from Gamified, and remember, game on, peace.